Treaties in 1867 will stop the killing, but whites will soon begin to violate the treaties. And they do this because they begin to discover precious metals on land that had been given to the Native Americans. So basically, they give the Native Americans the hills and the mountains because we're mostly farmers, and we figure we will never want the hills or the mountains. But then somebody will find gold or something else valuable in the hills or the mountains, and here come the whites into the Native American reservation. In 1875, two tribes of Sioux, the Ogallala and the Lakota Sioux, will leave a reservation where they are starving to death to go searching for food. The leaders of the two tribes, Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull, will call a war council and invite any other Native Americans in the area to discuss how to handle the whites. At this time, a cavalry unit under General Crooks is heading into the area looking for the Sioux who've left the reservation. One of the generals under Crooks, one of the commanders under Crooks, George Armstrong Custer, will want glory. Well, Custer will hear there's a gathering of Native Americans up along the Little Bighorn River, and will not tell Crooks. He'll ride ahead, figuring he wants to get the Sioux all for himself and gain glory this way. Custer, by the way, the youngest man ever, I believe the youngest man ever to become a general in the U.S. Army. He did so in the Civil War by being rapidly promoted. What Custer finds is 2,500 Native American warriors who are meeting to discuss how to handle the white problem. And Custer has a much smaller force, just a few hundred, and the Native Americans will massacre Custer's horse, killing every member of Custer's contingent. This is the battle at Little Bighorn, and this is the story of William Armstrong Custer. Shortly thereafter, this large Native American force will break up because they have no food. They will all go their separate ways trying to find food. And eventually, they will voluntarily return to the reservation because they can't eat. It's a very sad story. Of course, the massacre of Custer will become major news throughout the country and convince everyone that the Native Americans are vicious savages who can't be dealt with and need to be put down. And so while it appears to be a great victory, and it is the greatest victory for the Native Americans in this war, the long-term consequences are disastrous for the Native Americans. In 1877 in Idaho, a small, peaceful group of Native Americans called the Nez Perce are forced onto a reservation. On the way to the reservation, a few of the Nez Perce kids, the teenagers, get drunk and kill 4 whites. The U.S. Army chases this band of Nez Perce, Chief Joseph's band, on this incredible chase. There's 200 warriors and 350 non-warriors, so 350 basically women and children. The chase goes on for 1,321 miles over 75 days. The Nez Perce will be in sight of Canada. If they get to Canada, they're safe, right? Canada is not gonna let the American Army in. The Army will catch them inside of Canada, and instead of just letting them go to this other country and live in peace, they will force them to the reservation. Chief Joseph, when his tribe is caught, will say this: "Hear me, my chiefs, I am tired, my heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands today, I will fight no more forever." The last Native Americans to resist the reservation are the Chiricahua Apache. These are going to be in Arizona, New Mexico, that part of the country. This is the last organized resistance. The first great chief of the Chiricahua Apache during this period is Mangus. He's murdered by whites who call a fake peace treaty session and then kill him when he shows up. Cochise takes over and agrees to go to the reservation, but dies before the Apache go there in 1874. Cochise is superseded by Geronimo, who you see here, who will fight on in Arizona, in both New and Old Mexico. By 1866, Geronimo is down to 30 men left, and he is being chased by 10,000 U.S. cavalry soldiers. And he will surrender. Geronimo is legendary primarily because he's the last of the Native Americans to surrender. He simply held out the longest. I go to New Mexico a lot. My family has a house there. This is a poster you can see all over New Mexico, which maybe gives you a slightly different perspective on the idea of terrorism and homeland security. That's Geronimo there on the right. And a tragic, terrible postscript to the Native American Wars, the Indian Wars, is the 1890 story of Wounded Knee. Wounded Knee is this. It takes place on a reservation where a number of Native American tribes have come together. Sitting Bull is at the reservation. His son has become a police officer for the reservation. A spiritual leader named Wovoka is going around and preaching to the Native Americans that if they participate in this thing called the ghost dance, then the Great Spirit will come, take all the white people away, and bring all the buffalo back, which sounds pretty good if you're a Native American. He also tells them that they wear these magic shirts that bullets won't hurt them. When the Native Americans go try to put this down, one of the things they do is they go to Sitting Bull's, where he's living, and with the reservation police, including his son. Wovoka's down there on the bottom, by the way. Nobody knows exactly what happens, but Sitting Bull ends up shot and killed. Remember Sitting Bull, the great leader of the Battle of Little Bighorn. On December 29th, 1890, the Native Americans on this tribe, under the leadership of Wovoka, will be practicing the ghost dance. A group of American soldiers will ride up on them, see them dancing. They're largely unarmed, and will set up one of the early machine guns and will open fire on the ghost dancers and massacre these Native Americans in the snow along this creek called Wounded Knee. 20 Medals of Honor, the highest award we give in our military, are awarded to the cavalrymen at Wounded Knee. There's a little poem on this picture of them. Famous Battery E of the 1st Artillery, these brave men and Hotchkiss guns, that's the machine gun, that Bigfoot's Indians thought were toys, together with the fighting 7th, what's left of General Custer's boys, sent 200 Indians to that heaven which the ghost dancer enjoys. This checks the Indian noise, and General Miles with staff returned to Illinois. So here we are lauding these men for setting up machine guns and massacring unarmed men, women, and children at Wounded Knee. The great Black Elk, when he writes his biography towards the end of his life in the early 1900s, will give us this great phrase, "When I die, bury my heart at Wounded Knee." And that's pretty much the end of the Native American Wars. The Dawes Act will be an attempt by whites in 1887 to sever the Native Americans from their land. That's why it's called the Dawes Severalty Act. They are trying to destroy once and for all the entire basis of the Native American life. And what they're trying to do is create an individual private ownership of land system, like white people have done for a long time, but Native Americans have constantly rejected. They give 160 acres to the head of a family, 80 acres to any single adult, 40 for each child, and if you accept this land, you can get American citizenship. But you can't get full title to the land for 25 years. And the reason for this is they don't want the Native Americans to simply take the land and then sell it to a white speculator who will then turn around and sell it to another white guy. Another attempt to destroy the Native American way of life will involve whites taking Native American children away from their families and sending them to white boarding schools to be raised like white people. In these boarding schools, Native American religions were completely forbidden, and the students were taught Christianity. Enforcement was incredibly crooked, and the whole program was soon abandoned. Of the Dawes Severalty Act. Most of the land was never distributed to its intended owners. Most of the lands, nonetheless, ended up in the hands of white speculators who were well-connected, who then turned around and sold it for a huge profit. But we do have this entire generation of Native Americans who were raised like white people. In fact, one of the great athletes in American history is this guy over here with the C on his chest. That's Jim Thorpe of the Carlisle Indian School, who will become a star in a number of sports, including baseball, football, and the Olympics.